Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome back to our channel once again. And it is my hope and prayer that the video is going to find you guys in good health. Personally, I am fine, as you can see. Kisumu is fantastic, and maybe you could also let me know where you are watching the video from. The county or the country, in case you are out of the republic. Ladies and gentlemen, are you one term or are you two term? Let's meet in the comment section so that you could meet your village mate who also shares either one term or two term with you. Ladies and gentlemen, assuming tomorrow morning you wake up and you are appointed as the chief political advisor to Siaya Governor James Orengo, what would you advise him to do ahead of 2027 general election? Would you advise him to run for the presidency in 2027? Or would you advise him to focus on his re-election in Siaya as the governor again? Because you've seen James Orengo moving around the entire country. Or would you advise James Orengo to position himself strategically within the opposition so that even if he were to lose in Siaya, he will still gain at the national level? If you are Orengo's advisor today, what would you advise him to do? Let me also read that in the comment section. Ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I want us to go through the tough conditions which James Orengo has actually placed before any talks with Oburu Oginga. Because for those who've been following this channel, there was a time I opined that Oburu and Orengo had actually initiated talks from the background. And indeed, Oburu Oginga came forth during one of the interviews with the Luo Nation, with one of the Luo vernacular stations, where he revealed that some elders were already in talks with James Orengo. And I don't know how that ended until just the other day when we saw some elders requesting Oburu Oginga and Orengo to reconcile. But Orengo today issued some very difficult conditions. And I think from those conditions, those talks will not proceed because the conditions are so tough that they cannot be met. But let us go back a bit. Why do you think Orengo declared himself the ODM party leader at some point?
Na mjue Secretary General, katibu mkuu ya ODM ni nani? SGS ni nani? Na kwa sababu Oburu hawezi jana Kisumu, kwa sababu Oburu hawezi, sasa Orengo is the acting party leader of ODM. Asante.
And do you still agree with James Orengo that it's actually William Ruto who needs ODM and not the other way?
I dare say Ruto needs ODM. It's not ODM that needs Ruto. Sijui mnanisikia? There are people in the party, they are behaving as if ODM is the one that needs Ruto. Is Ruto that needs ODM? Kwa sababu ameshindwa.
And my last question, if ODM was sold, because James Orengo revealed that ODM was sold to Ruto.
You admit that the orange is split.
The orange is not really split. People are trying to sell the orange. They're trying to sell the orange, and we say, no, you cannot sell it. They are trying to sell it for a price, for a few coins. And we are not going to allow that to happen. And if it happens, God forbid, that they take control of the party and successfully remain as leaders of that vehicle called ODM, then in the words of Nyerere, if Tanzanians cannot get change within CCM, they'll look for it outside CCM. So eventually, we're going to make that hard decision.
Tell me something. Who is this willing buyer?
President Ruto. It's not a secret, is it? That's how ODM can hold its meetings in State House. And President Ruto presides, not just in State House, in his private residence in Kilgoris. He had another meeting there. And he is the one funding the party.
And even went further and named the people who sold ODM to Ruto. If ODM was sold, why is he putting the conditions to reconcile?
Gladys Wanga, Junaid Mohammed, there was Governor Arati, and Governor Nasir from Mombasa.
Before we get into all those details, in case you're watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to go through those conditions verbatim. Now, these are some of the conditions Orengo has placed on the table. There are only 4 conditions, but they're very tough. I doubt if Oburu will meet them. It says here, Governor James Orengo has blocked a traditional reconciliation framework, disqualifying the Council of Elders from mediating his deepening leadership rift with Oburu Oginga. Orengo has outlined the following 4 strict conditions that must be met before he agrees to meet with Oburu. So these conditions, therefore, they must be met. And I want you to tell me whether Oburu and the group will be able to meet some of these conditions. Because for me, I'm seeing Orengo as someone who is setting the ground for him to exit the ODM party. The first condition which he's saying is that clearly structured framework. Both sides must agree on a well-defined and formal framework to guide any reconciliation talks. Now, if you are keen enough and you are to go through what Orengo is trying to say here, he wants a structured framework. Where framework mean, if they were to reconcile and this team was to give 5 people, Orengo would also nominate 5 people. In short, Orengo wants to negotiate with Oburu Oginga on equal terms, not as a rebel. Because remember, before Orengo declared himself the party leader, Orengo was holding no party position. In fact, even when Odinga was alive, Orengo never held any party position. But now he's a rebel, and he's saying, if you guys want us to meet, number 1, let us have framework. So which means during that framework, he can say, okay, I want to be the party leader. Oburu, exit. Then Oburu can say, okay, because I'm already the party leader, we can't negotiate on that. What position are we going to give you? Then Orengo can say, okay, you will have to give me this. I doubt if that will happen, because remember, Oburu Oginga was appointed and confirmed as the party leader. There are other party officials already. So that's the first condition. I doubt if that condition will be met. Number 2, the second condition is saying, commitment to ODM ideals. You see, ODM party was built through sweat and blood. ODM party has ideology. ODM party stood or stands for something. And it says here, Oburu and the current party hierarchy must demonstrate a genuine commitment to restoring the founding activists principle of ODM as originally championed by former party leader Odinga. What Orengo is trying to say is that Oburu and the group must agree that ODM should be reform-oriented. In fact, ODM has always been the party that has always stood for the people. ODM is not known to work with the government. Oburu Oginga and his team are currently working with the government. What Orengo is telling them to do is that they must get out and start fighting for the people. Because remember, Orengo is a reformist. He's known to be a people united shall never be defeated. That's how Orengo is known. So he wants ODM to go back to the streets to fight for the rights of the people. I doubt if the current people calling the shots in ODM would agree to this. I could be wrong, but I doubt if they will agree to go back to the street. And even if they were to agree, majority of ODM members will not accept to go back to the streets. That's the second condition, cannot be met. The third condition, which I think can be met to some extent, is talking of neutral arbitration. The mediation team facilitating the talks must be neutral and completely exclude the current leadership of the Luo Council of Elders. Probably during their talks with the elders, he had some misunderstandings with them. But it's also a known fact that some of these elders have already taken positions. Undungi Randa was opposed, for example, to broad-based government. The current chair of the Luo Council of Elders, he was opposed to the broad-based government. He was with Orengo, opposing it. I don't know what happened along the way. And Undungi Randa embraced the broad-based government. So probably that's what Orengo is not happy about. He's disqualifying the Luo Council of Elders. So if you disqualify the Luo Council of Elders, and we have the Luo Council of Elders, we have ODM, which group from the Luo community do you think can arbitrate on this matter? Maybe professionals, but which ones? Because ideally, some of these issues, the elders were the best people to resolve. Maybe it's calling on the church leaders from the Luo nation. But I doubt. And he's saying number 4, which is now the end of it. It can't happen. Return of alleged state funds. The opposing faction must return all funds allegedly sourced from President William Ruto, with Orengo stating his camp will not tolerate President William Ruto's financial influence over the party. So Orengo believes that ODM was bought, and some of his activities are normally being funded by President Ruto. And because of that, he's saying that if Ruto ever gave ODM some money, please refund it. There's the story that the ODM 20th anniversary was actually funded by President William Ruto to the tune of hundreds of millions. Because remember, it brought together all ODM delegates from across the country. Each delegate received 10,000 Kenyan shillings. Of course, that's normally the amount of money paid to delegates whenever they meet, because ODM has the political party's funds, and it normally covers such kind of allowances. But this time around, I think they're normally given, is it 5 plus transport? This time they were given 10,000. So probably Orengo knows something about these fundings which these guys have been receiving. I don't know whether, if that will not happen, he will also demand the share, but he's making it very clear that for them, they will not accept any financial support from the president. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what you think, but from these conditions, Orengo is telling Oburu that there is nothing we are going to talk about. What's your take? Until next time, this is Makwiny. Bye-bye.